Thanks for joining us. I'm Alexandra Lewis.
And I'm Kim Christensen. First tonight, a school bus driver with Aurora Public Schools is being credited with saving 14 students when the bus they were on caught on fire today. Aurora Fire says the bus driver noticed the flames coming through the dashboard about 4 o'clock this afternoon. He immediately pulled over near East 11th and Piccadilly Road, then helped all 14 kids off the bus before it went up in flames. Investigators say that fire was accidental. It started in the engine compartment. No one was hurt. Aurora Public Schools says another school bus picked up the students and took them to their stops. The district released a statement tonight saying, in part, we want to give our utmost thanks to our bus driver for his awareness and quick action. His response kept everyone safe. The safety of our students and staff is our top priority.
A cloudy day over Denver after a rough couple of stormy days, but the clouds should clear soon, and there's even a warm-up on the way for us. Let's get to Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. You've been tracking so much active weather over the last couple days. It's nice to get a break.
I agree with you, Alex. I agree with you. And it has been a nice day. I mean, it was blue sky for a while. We got some sunshine. We had a few clouds in that brought some showers, but the severe weather threat was low and the flood threat was low. But now we're tracking a weak front crossing Colorado from the northwest. That's stirring things up just a little bit. And some of you that didn't see the rain today could actually see a few showers tonight. Temperatures have cooled out of the upper 80s back to the mid 60s, compliments of the front and the showers. The front is moving in, as we see with the winds now out of the north and northeast. And these showers will move through between now and midnight and then move out. And then we're off and running to a warming and drying trend that'll get us back in the 90s. This cell near Lamar was severe, no longer is. We have storms tracking from the west to the east. So far, just gentle showers, thunder and lightning, nothing severe. We think it's possible you'll have a little bit of rain as you're going to sleep tonight, but by midnight, we should be done. Severe weather threat is shifting off to the east of us, and this is really the beginning of a warming and drying trend, but we also have an air quality alert posted again. So we're going to talk all about this, check the radar again, and have the extended forecast in detail, and that's coming up.
Colorado lawmakers are back to work. Well, headed there as 2 lawmakers confirm with our politics reporter, Marshall Zellinger, that Democratic Governor Jared Polis will call a special session tomorrow for the end of the month. The goal is for the Democratic state legislature to come up with a new property tax compromise to head off property tax cuts that conservatives put on the ballot for November. The session is set to start August 26th.
Colorado's leading abortion access fund, Cobalt, says it's putting new limits on its funding capacity.
The number of patients seeking abortions in the state has increased sharply in the 2 years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, sending their costs skyrocketing. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause is here. And Rachel, this new data out today essentially just confirms what doctors have been telling us, right?
Yeah, for 2 years, doctors around the country have stressed that the uncertain landscape created post-Roe is driving many to seek out abortion care, even if they have to cross state lines to do it. Now, a new survey confirms more women are seeking out that care, and many are scared, even having a hard time accessing it.
People are, concerned about the accessibility of health care.
In the 2 years post-Roe, Laura Chapin with Cobalt Abortion Fund says she's seen demand for abortion care and help accessing it surge. Many turning to providers in Colorado for help.
The Dobbs decision has upended health care nationwide. We've seen a huge domino effect. We've seen patients pushed into other states for care. We've seen Colorado physicians that are completely have been overwhelmed with patients.
A new KFF survey released Wednesday reports in women of reproductive age, 1 in 7 have had an abortion, and nearly 1 in 10 know someone who's had a hard time getting an abortion since Roe was overturned. And 2/3 of women surveyed worry abortion bans could put them or a loved one in danger if an abortion is needed.
I mean, we've all heard the anecdotes, we've seen the stories, and I think the findings, confirm what a lot of us have suspected, but now they're actually quantifying it and getting it down.
As bans are enacted in some states and legal challenges leave the healthcare landscape in limbo for others, Chapin says Cobalt is stepping up to help women access this care here.
What we have definitely seen here in Colorado is a surge of people who can access abortion care in their own states coming here because they know they can.
As demand continues to climb, their resources are stretched thin. And unless something changes nationwide, Chapin says the number of women seeking abortion care will only rise.
People who want to access abortion care will seek it out. And, the system is absorbing as much as it can right now, but it's a lot.
This fall, Colorado voters will decide whether to protect abortion rights in the state's constitution. So will voters in Arizona and Missouri. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
An Adams County judge is ordering the owners of an Aurora apartment complex to help their former tenants find new places to stay after the city deemed their building unsafe to live in. The court order is in response to a class action lawsuit detailing a years-long history of concerns about the condition of the building at Colfax Avenue and Nome Street. Roughly 300 residents were forced from the units yesterday after the city shut down the building. In a class action lawsuit filed this week, attorneys detail complaints about flooding, black mold, rodent infestations, busted heating, and lack of hot water, dating back as far as 2021. The suit claims the problems came to a head earlier this year when property owners stopped paying the water bill and halted trash pickup.
This is about landlords fundamentally failing to comply with their obligations under Colorado law and nothing else.
Property management company CBZ Management says a recent takeover by a Venezuelan gang forced the city to shut down the property. Both the city and the lawsuit say that's not the case. A district court judge granted a temporary restraining order against the property owners this afternoon, requiring the management company to provide a habitable unit or hotel room for any evicted resident who requests one. That order will last at least 2 weeks. The lawsuit is ultimately seeking back rent for residents who have lived in the complex since 2022.
A man serving a life sentence for murder is trying to overturn his conviction now that the DNA analysis on his case is under criminal investigation. Michael Clark has been in prison for 12 years. He was convicted for the 1994 shooting death of a man at an apartment in Boulder. Well, the case went unsolved for years until Missy Woods analyzed DNA in this case. The now former CBI analyst admitted to deleting data in more than 650 cases, questioning her credibility during her nearly 30-year career. A motion obtained by 9 News Investigates asks for Clark's conviction to be overturned. Clark's attorney believes his client would not have been found guilty if information about Woods was available during his trial.
There's no way her testimony would even have been presented. She is a completely non-credible witness. No district attorney is putting her up on the stand in any case anymore. So without her testimony, there was no case.
The Boulder District Attorney says CBI determined there were no issues with Woods' analysis on this case, but his office will carefully review the evidence for each of these claims to see if the outcome at trial was the right one.
For the first time, the FBI agents who brought down Montrose body brokers tell their story. The case made international headlines and eventually led to a new state law, which requires funeral home employees to be licensed. In their first interview, 2 FBI agents tell 9 News Investigates' Aaron Adelson how they figured out the funeral home's owner and her mother were illegally selling body parts.
Some stories are more difficult to tell than others.
It doesn't feel any easier.
Danielle McCarthy knows that.
So I come once a week.
Every visit.
He and I have a great conversation.
7 years ago, she lost her husband, David.
I used Sunset Mesa Funeral Home in Montrose, Colorado to cremate my husband.
Less than a year later, she lost her sense of trust.
My husband had not been cremated. He had been dismembered into several different body parts and sold. Still feels like somebody murdered my dead husband. Like, I can't describe it any other way.
Yet even she knows this story is best told by the pair who uncovered it.
When the FBI shows up, it shows up for a reason.
For me anyway, that was the most difficult part of the investigation, is breaking that news to the family.
That's FBI Special Agent Bush. Because of undercover work, we agreed to conceal his first name and his face. Special Agent Alex Zappi was his partner.
Never thought that we would be working a case like this.
They work separately now. We brought them together to discuss how they built a case against the owners of Sunset Mesa. They've never done an interview before.
We're a good team.
It started almost 7 years ago in Montrose with curiosity. It turned on a search warrant, which led to a visit with the funeral home's owner, Megan Hess.
We've done a lot of search warrants in residences and even businesses, but never have we done a search warrant in a mortuary.
She was scared, she was nervous, maybe defiant and annoyed by our presence.
Less annoyed, but still defiant, the owner's mother, Shirley Koch.
I mean, she was trying to make them look really good when, in fact, we knew that she's hiding and lying to us.
Lies, they say, that inched the FBI closer to the truth of what happened inside here.
Her emotions ranged from kind of a fake friendliness to crying and yelling during the interview at different times.
She couldn't hide the truth of what she did at work.
Dismembering of bodies, packaging them, embalming them, things like that. And one of the former employees told us that Shirley would figure out how to do things by YouTubing it.
I still have nightmares and I still have visions of that being done to my husband.
No formal training, and a willingness, the agents say, to occasionally trick people into thinking the funeral home was donating organs.
Many of the instances, the topic of donation was never even brought up. So they just completely stole the bodies.
She defrauded all of the victims that were involved and all the families and those people that trusted her.
Body parts turned into profit, the FBI believes. The funeral home illegally sold parts of hundreds of bodies to body brokers for money.
The gruesomeness of this industry, I don't think people understand, and this is not an anomaly. This is going to keep happening.
Trying to figure out what crime matches this conduct.
In the end, the FBI chose mail fraud because some of the bodies shipped had infectious diseases, despite Hassan Koch's assertions the parts were disease-free.
This happened because of greed. And unfortunately, the greed that Megan and her mother had was greater than their ethical or moral compass.
Greed built off of grief.
David is finally laid to rest here.
Agent Bush was the one who helped Danielle trust once again. He helped find David.
I'm extremely grateful. Agent Bush most especially because he was the one that gave us the information.
It was nice to be able to recover some body parts. It was disappointing that we were not able to recover very many.
A big part of dealing with that ugliness is when we see justice served.
Most families still don't know what happened to their loved ones. Without the FBI agents, Danielle says the true story would never have been told.
I'll see you later, baby. I love you.
In Denver, Aaron Adelson, 9 News.
Megan Hess and Shirley Koch were sentenced to 20 and 15 years in prison. A federal appeals court recently ruled they need to be resentenced. The federal government has until tomorrow to respond.